everything you need to know to grow a business. Business made simple.
Welcome to day 39 of Business Made Simple, the book and video series that will teach you everything you need to know to grow a business. Well, we're on day 3 talking about how to be a great communicator and specifically how to give a really good presentation. Today's tip actually applies to a lot more than giving a presentation, though. It can help you wireframe a website, it can help you make a corporate video, it can even help you create a really great mission statement. It's this: in your presentation, foreshadow a really good climactic scene. A great communicator tells the audience what their lives could look like if they buy into the presenter's point of view. If you want an audience to pay attention, tell them where you are taking them. You know, at the beginning of Karate Kid, the movie that I loved when I was a kid, we know that Daniel's going to have to face off against the bully, right? And it's foreshadowed. That's actually called the obligatory scene. And what that means is the writer of the screenplay is obliged, they're obligated. And that's done with foreshadowing all through the movie. There's a foreshadowing of these two are eventually going to meet up, right? The man and woman are eventually going to get married. The bomb is eventually going to be disarmed. Rudy's eventually going to play for Notre Dame. It's the obligatory scene. And you foreshadow that throughout the story so that the story is always headed somewhere. And usually that somewhere has been seeded enough in the presentation that people are starting to get a mental picture of it and they're expecting it to come up. It's a great tool to use if you're giving a presentation. All the way through the movie I just mentioned, Rudy, we all want Rudy to play in a Notre Dame football game, right? And when he finally does, there's this sense of relief. It relieves the tension. It's the obligatory scene, it's the climactic scene. It relieves the tension that has been building up for the last 90 minutes. In Romeo and Juliet, we want Romeo and Juliet to get married, right? Well, they actually don't get married, but there's some imagery at the end where they are united in heaven, where there is a, quote, wedding in waiting. It's Shakespeare's way of foreshadowing a climactic scene, and then even in the midst of a tragedy, delivering that resolution at the end of the show. In the King's Speech, we all want King George to give that speech without stuttering, and of course, they deliver that at the end of the movie. So, in story terms, the climactic scene is really important. It's that scene where the conflict is resolved. So just like in a story, you want to foreshadow some sort of scene of what the audience's lives could look like if they buy into your ideas, okay? So if I'm talking about we need to hire a new sales rep, I want to somehow seed in the presentation, when a new sales rep is sitting at that empty desk down in the sales room, our leads won't be neglected anymore and our revenue will go up. We are missing opportunities. What I do, I foreshadow the climactic scene of a sales rep sitting in that chair. If your point of view is that we should kill off a revenue stream because the opportunity cost is too high, then you're going to want to paint a picture of how much time and labor that we have working that could be used for more lucrative endeavors, right? Or how much faster and more pleasant executive meetings will go if we don't have to solve so many problems with this other revenue stream. You're painting a picture of a better future. A couple tips about foreshadowing climactic scenes. One is make it specific. When John Kennedy gave that famous speech at Rice University down in Houston about going to the moon, he didn't say, we're going to launch a space program that will spin off enough research and development to fuel product creation in the private sector and help us compete economically with both an upcoming China economy and Russian influence in the global markets. He didn't say that. What he said is, we're going to put a man on the moon. We're going to put a man on the moon. And people can visualize it. They can see it. It's important that your climactic scene, this foreshadowing of a better future, is visual, right? Churchill said regarding fighting Hitler, if we can stand up to him, all Europe may be free, and the life of the world may move forward into the broad and sunlit uplands. That's poetic imagery. See all of Europe moving up into the heavens of life without Hitler, right? He was using visual imagery to inspire. He foreshadowed a climactic scene. To foreshadow a climactic scene, ask yourself what the world will look like if people buy into your perspective, then describe that world for them. When you foreshadow a climactic scene in your presentation, you inspire an audience to head toward that scene. And anybody who can do that greatly increases their value as a professional on the open market. Here's today's Business Made Simple tip of the day. Foreshadow a climactic scene in your presentation, and you will inspire your audience.